A Day to Remember dropped their new album, Big Ole Album, Volume 1. Man, I love A Day to Remember.
Okay, so I'm gonna just start this off because I have a couple things to say. I just want to say rollout wise, packaging wise, name wise, this album fucking sucks. Okay, I think that this is genuinely. I hate. It's just me though. This is just me. My preferences. I hate the album title. Big ol' album volume. Who are you? What is
Big
this? If
Ole Album,
anyone,
Volume 1.
if
There's a
anyone
Volume 2
put
coming, by the way.
oh, I was worried that they were just gonna leave it at one. You know.
You never know.
Um, cover art wise, I think it's not my favorite, you know? It's
There's a
it's
lot going on.
hard to look at personally. Single wise, all of them except for feedback could have done without them. Um Now, getting into the actual, meat and potatoes of this fucking record. I think it's great. Honestly, I was worried going into it because we had both been so hot and cold about this record because feedback, their debut single for this record, was fucking incredible. And especially, I mean, the bar was in hell considering their last record. So honestly, anything that they would have put out, if it didn't sound a morsel like the record before, was going to be great. But it was genuinely a good song that we both thoroughly enjoyed.
Mhm.
So going into it, I was like, oh, well, and then they fucking dropped LeBron. And I was like, oh, they lost it. They
Shout out
lost the thread.
LeBron.
No, man, no shout out to LeBron. Fuck that song. Um, so going into it, I was like, okay, feedback's at the front, LeBron's towards the middle. I should have enough time to, get a good opinion because LeBron isn't at the front. So my opinion's gonna be fucking washed if LeBron's like track three, because then
Mhm.
I'm like, I'm just pissed off for the rest of the record, you know? That's just how my brain works. I need to figure that out if I'm gonna be reviewing albums, and I need to get past that. But that's just how it is now. So make it make sense. Feedback, bad blood to all my friends into the death. Being the first half of the record. I think it's fucking incredible. I definitely think there's a lot of pop elements that they're weaving into their metalcore, and there were some country elements that kind of scared me, but they were still good. It wasn't as offensive to my ears as the first record, where they just had like a flat out country song that we were both like, "What the fuck is this?" You guys remember your Day to Remember, right? Like you're not fucking Luke Combs or whatever the fuck. Actually, that was the only one I could think of. Um, so hearing kind of their fusion, their pop metalcore combination, I thought it was incredible. And it honestly just feels like the correct evolution for a band that has been going this long, and that has been experimenting throughout their entire career and kind of trying to find their path. It's definitely leaning more into the octane core, which again to me is kind of the correct or natural evolution for a band that's been going this long. You already have the name that everyone recognizes, so now it's just trying to find a bigger audience and trying to grow past the big mark that you already had when you not peaked, but when your name was the biggest, which was in like the early 2010s. Um, so I think it's great. I love I like this album. I think it's a good album. Definitely a lot better than I was expecting. Again, bar was on the floor, but it genuinely over exceeded my expectations. I really like To the Death. All my friends' feedback are my favorite. Feedback is still a personal favorite because I genuinely just think that song fucks. A side's great, B side's great as well, but damn, LeBron, can we just like axe that song like
No, we
fully?
can't.
There was also a crazy ass breakdown towards the end of the record. I unfortunately did not have access to my phone when I was listening to it, but I was like, Jesus Christ, that was insane because it went from, a more pop rock song to then just out of nowhere, there was just a crazy fucking breakdown. And that song alone made me want to see them live because I was like, that switch would be so cool live. So, great record, thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's a natural progression for a band like this. I'm not mad at it. But again, rollout wise and cover it, looking at it, it's hard. It's difficult. I would not buy like a vinyl of this because I would not want a large piece of art like this.
I bought
Thank
the
you.
vinyl.
I know you
Um,
did. I know you did.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I really enjoyed this record. It feels like exactly what the band had to do coming off the back of You're
Had to.
Welcome.
Had
Um,
to.
they had to they had to make this album, because You're Welcome, you know, did a lot of experimentation that had not been previously seen in their discography, and couple that with the fact that, you know, there was this very long wait delay period. The album, you know, was anticipated for 4 years, and then what we ultimately got was You're Welcome. It kind of felt like a slap in the face. So this album had to happen, and it absolutely rocks. I think they absolutely nailed it. You know, the band has always teetered they're an easy core band. They've got the pop punk elements, they've got the metal elements. They've started incorporating those country elements in the past couple of records, although, like you said, I think it was done a lot better on this album. There wasn't a straight up like this is a country song. It's like the country metal that we're starting to see pop up, which I'm okay with. Still not my favorite, but overall, if we got to do that, I'd rather it be country metal than just like throwing a country song on the easy core metalcore album. It opens with Make It Make Sense, which, you know, is kind of like, to me, feels like this opening song that's kind of like we're back, because it kicks in with a breakdown almost immediately, and it's kind of like reassuring the fans in a sense that like we're back, we're making breakdowns again. Although the last record had a couple of those, and those were my favorite songs on the album, it just kind of feels like it was needed to give you a kick in the teeth right away. Feedback is a phenomenal song, goes even harder live. Absolutely rips and is actually pretty heavy live. It's not super heavy in the studio version, but they get it rocking live. All My Friends and LeBron, I kind of put in the same category, although I actually really like LeBron.
Yeah, I know you do.
Yeah, it's dope.
Continue.
But All My Friends and LeBron are the two songs on the album where I was kind of like, did anyone read the lyrics that were written before they were sang and then mixed and mastered and put out? They're both corny.
It's fun corny. It's just LeBron crosses the line for me because it's just like, what the fuck, guys? Why are you name dropping LeBron? All My Friend, you know, you get a pass. You get a pass.
They're the two corniest songs on the record for sure. I really like LeBron because I think it's just a very catchy song. It's got a very catchy chorus. Corny as hell, and I giggle every time I listen to it. But it's got a big catchy chorus, and I mean, I can see why it was picked as a single, one of the few that we got. Although the entire album was put out a month in advance on physical, there were a total of 4 singles. Miracle came out in 2022 as initially a standalone, wound up making its way onto the album. Still one of my favorites. Phenomenal track. But there are songs on here like To the Death and Silence that are like, holy shit, I feel like the band kind of transcends the metalcore and gets even heavier. Especially, I was reading the A Day to Remember subreddit, because I'm like, I want to see what A Day to Remember fans are thinking about this album, because I think it's dope, but I want to see what the general census is. And I saw someone call Silence like Gojira-esque, and I spent a lot of time listening to Gojira at the tail end of last year, seeing them a couple of times with Korn, and I have to agree, it feels very like technical metal,
fun,
which is super dope. Not something that we've seen them do before. So I really dig that. I think that, you know, they obviously I think A Day Remembers at their best when they do super heavy, when there's breakdowns, because that's what I lean towards. I love the pop punk infused stuff, but I love when it's just a straight up metalcore breakdown track. So tracks like To the Death, Miracle, Silence are my favorites on the album. But there's plenty of pop punk and straight up pop songs on the album that really create a nice blend. Nothing is kind of stacked where you're getting multiple of the same song in a row. You know, the track list is very much varied in the sense of you're kind of getting hit from every angle, but it all makes sense. Make it make sense, if you will. I
will not.
Okay. Overall, overall, it's just a very solid album, a return to form, and was necessary with everything that happened with the last record. They absolutely knocked this out of the park. And I couldn't be more happy. I had heard people talking, when the vinyl came out, that this was potentially going to be their album of the year. And I just kind of scoffed because of what had went on with the previous record. I was like, I don't know if the band's got it in them
to be album of the year potential.
after what I heard with the previous record and what I'm hearing with the singles. I think they're all solid. But I kind of get it. This is definitely probably not going to take my album of the year. I've already got like 4 or 5 albums competing for that spot. But I could see this making my list in some sort of capacity. I'm definitely going to be spending a lot of time with this. Incredible. Opener's fantastic. Closer, it feels like a closer. And what I really love is there's no straight up slow songs, because The Day to Remember does the acoustic songs really well, but this is just straight up ass beaters and catchy pop songs, and that's what was needed. So
100%.
Overall, very stoked on this.